The Chinese economy is facing significant challenges as 2024 unfolds. Multinational corporations are withdrawing rapidly, impacting growth and investment. But what's driving this exodus, and how might it reshape China's economic landscape? Let's find out. The Chinese economy has hit a rough patch, and the beginning of 2024 hasn't been kind. Stock markets are at their lowest in 5 years, signaling trouble. This dip in the stock market is a big deal because it reflects investors' confidence, or rather the lack of it, in China's economic future. Growth is slowing down, and foreign investment, which is crucial for any economy to thrive in, is also taking a hit. It's the lowest it's been in 30 years. However, this year the expected rebound was missing. The market's flat response on the first day back to work was a cold splash of reality for those hoping for a quick recovery. Adding to the worries, the Chinese central bank decided not to cut interest rates. So, why is foreign investment drying up? It seems investors are getting cold feet about China's economic stability. They're starting to think their money might be better elsewhere. This pullback is a big deal because foreign cash helps drive growth, jobs, and innovation. Without it, the economy could stall, making things even tougher. One area that's been hit hard is Xinjiang, a large region in China known for its minority group, the Uyghurs. Over the past decade, this area has been in the spotlight due to multiple allegations of human rights abuses by China against the Uyghurs. This has led to Western companies rethinking their presence in the region. BASF, a giant German chemical company famous for its cassette tapes back in the day, has announced it's closing 2 facilities there. And it's not just them. Big names like Tesla, Volkswagen, and General Motors are also under pressure to make sure their supply chains are free from forced labor, a concerning issue linked to the region. But what does all this mean for China's economy in 2024? Well, the situation looks challenging. The withdrawal of foreign investment can set off a domino effect. Less investment means less business, which leads to lower profits and fewer jobs. This isn't just a blip on the radar, it's a serious hurdle that could slow down the economy's growth. The big news in the business world is that BASF, a giant in the chemical industry, is pulling out of its ventures in the Chinese region of Xinjiang. You might remember BASF from those cassette tapes in the 70s and 80s, but today they're making headlines for a different reason. They're stepping away due to concerns that don't align with their company values, especially surrounding the serious issue of human rights. Isn't it intriguing? The company has been clear about its reasons. While citing environmental concerns like high carbon emissions and competitive market pressures, there's another layer to this decision. Reports have surfaced about possible human rights abuses tied to their business partners involving forced labor in detention camps. Despite these heavy accusations, BASF insists their own reviews find no evidence of such violations in their joint ventures. Yet, they've decided to move forward with their exit strategy. The UN has raised a big red flag about China's actions in Xinjiang, where the Uyghur Muslims live. Michelle Bachelet, the UN's top human rights official, made waves with a report released just as she was stepping down. The report paints a troubling picture, alleging serious human rights abuses against the Uyghurs, a mainly Muslim group. Think about it, around 10 million people, caught up in what's said to be arbitrary arrests and forced medical treatments. What's more, there's talk of forced labor in what are described as massive internment camps. The US even calls it genocide. But guess what? China calls the whole thing a farce, cooked up by the US and its buddies, denying all accusations. And here's a twist. Some folks think Bachelet was too easy on China. The Uyghurs, an ethnic minority in China, are in the spotlight due to a potential human rights violation identified by the United Nations. They're from Xinjiang, a region bursting with natural treasures like oil, gas, iron, coal, and a big chunk of China's cotton production. Now, let's rewind to the 1940s. The Uyghurs dominated the local population, but then in 1955, after discovering oil and gas, the Chinese government started moving people from all over China to Xinjiang. They called it the Labor Transfer Program. The goal? Boost the workforce in oil, gas, and new factories. This shift caused the Uyghur share of the population to shrink, even as the total local population ballooned to around 26 million, with Uyghurs making up about 10 million. Fast forward to the 1990s, and we see tension bubbling. Uyghur separatist movements gain traction, supported from abroad. Protests erupted, leading to clashes and loss of life. By 2017, China ramps up its game, tagging some separatist groups as terrorists and rolling out strict anti-terrorism laws. Here's where it gets murky. China's tight-lipped approach makes it hard to dig deep, but whispers of large educational centers have resurfaced. Reports suggest that up to 1.5 million people could be housed in these, facing what some call forced labor, a far cry from the intended education. Imagine being uprooted from your home and sent hundreds of miles away to work a job you never asked for. That's the reality for some yogurs, relocated from the countryside to toil in unfamiliar factories. The picture painted by these accounts, not pretty. Rights groups and individuals allege severe human rights abuses within these centers. China's Xinjiang region is under the global microscope again. This time, it's not just about cotton or tomatoes, it's about aluminium. So, what's the bigger picture looking like for China, especially with the Chinese New Year break wrapped up? There were high hopes, fingers crossed for a strong comeback, but the markets have been snoozing, not bouncing back as hoped. The Chinese government missed a beat by not injecting some much-needed stimulus into the economy during the break, and with foreign investment hitting a 30-year low, the red flags are waving. It's not just about pumping in money. For China, it's also about keeping that international partnership vibe alive, mixing in overseas brands with local ones to boost global credibility. But with direct investment plummeting and the shadow of 2022's investment drought still looming, 2024 doesn't look like it's going to be the year of the comeback. Adding to that, domestic demand in China is sagging, and foreign companies are being hemmed in by sanctions, especially around advanced tech like AI and chips. Not exactly the recipe for a booming investment climate. Globally, the picture is no rosier. Japan, the UK, Germany, they're all grappling with recession blues. Inflation's biting hard worldwide, pushing up interest rates and making loans pricier for businesses and individuals. Not the ideal time for splashing cash on overseas adventures, right? And then there's China's own backyard, deflation, a word as chilling as it sounds. Prices have been on a downward side, signaling that consumers aren't opening their wallets as they used to. In fact, they're stashing cash like never before, leading to a slump in demand. All eyes are now on the Chinese authorities. Will they step up, roll out measures to revitalize the economy? Time's ticking, and the longer they wait, the tougher it'll get. And we still haven't even touched on the real estate drama, with giants like Evergrande tumbling into turmoil. The property sector, a colossal chunk of China's GDP, is on shaky ground, and more dominoes might just be lining up. China's economic struggles are multifaceted, involving everything from foreign investment pullbacks to internal policy dilemmas. But what do you think lies ahead for China? Will it navigate through these turbulent waters and emerge stronger, or will the challenges prove too great? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this analysis informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights.